See? See? Look, look, look. Sit, sit. See? Look, look. See? There you are. You don't want to see yourself? There's Sasha. Hi, Sasha. Say hi, Sasha. Hi. Yeah. This is my dog, Sasha. Say hi, Sasha. Hi, Sasha. Hi, Sasha. What's up? Say hi. Say hello. Hi, Sasha. Say hello. Don't lick the paws. Bye. Hi, good morning, YouTube. Writing is a divine revelation. God is wanting to communicate with us intelligently, using words. When we are growing up in life, we are conditioned by our authority figures. They are mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, brothers, sisters, teachers, police, preachers, aunts, uncles, anyone, cousins, anyone that we believe have more knowledge, more wisdom. They inform our mind and get us to believe in a version of their reality by telling us who is good, who is bad, what is good, what is bad, where is good, where is bad, what to wear, who to hang out with. They influence the mind based on their version of reality. And in reality, our parents, or the authority figures, anyone we believe to have more power or knowledge than us, based off of their status, that's a wrong conception. Because people don't know more or better about the world unless they study it and develop time and energy into understanding what life means to conscious awareness. We have a spirit, which is our true self, undivided, which gives us a body. We have an intellect that allows us to choose and to think. In Freudian psychology, we have an id, an ego, and a superego. We have an id, which is the unconscious portion of our personality, and it responds to the pleasure principle. If it feels good, do it. And two instincts, the death thanatos instinct and the eros love instinct. We have our superego, which has to do with our morality. It has our conscience, which deals with our feeling of right and wrong. And it has to do with it has our ego ideal in it, or the person we want to become. We have an ego, which is the mediator between the unconscious impulses coming from our id and our superego. So say you see someone eating a sandwich, and you get the thought, the impulse, I'm hungry, I want that sandwich. The unconscious impulses would go to tell you to go take their sandwich. And if we're aware enough, we use the ego to mediate between the unconscious impulses and our superego by telling ourselves no, that's their sandwich, and that stealing is wrong. So the ego is the mediator between the unconscious impulses and our feeling of right and wrong. God is speaking to the human through their dreams and the things they really want to do in life. It's by trusting in the one source God, by following the words of truth, while being truthful with yourself and others to create a state of harmony. God wants all people to succeed, so have faith for your brothers and sisters to give them hope in times of need. The idea is to be there for people and show them they have something to believe in using presence. Being present with people. There was another one. That I wanted to share. Um, hmm. Together. The moment one realizes that we are inanimate matter becoming animate, we are amazed by what we see and all the things that is produced. When we hold on to this amazement, it exuberates our life into ever unfolding manifestations of ecstasy. But what is alive? I am alive because I know that I exist. If I didn't know that I existed, then I wouldn't know that I was alive. I know where I come from and I know where I must go. Up to heaven. How are you supposed to get any better if you don't ever try? How are you supposed to know if you succeed if you're not going to put forth the effort? It's about applying your effort and showing yourself that you can try and that you can do better and that you will do better. One must learn to love or love to learn. Really, we should do both. Love to learn and love to learn to love. Everything has a cause. Some have no reason. Whenever you develop a cause, an idea, an action behind your influence, it develops your mind into something beautiful because that's the point of it, is develop a purpose. Put your actions into something you care about. The more you develop reason into your actions, the better you perceive oneself. Otherwise, we repeat patterns, old patterns of habit. In reality, our life is constantly being created by the things that we do. We're always developing a habit, and we have to be aware, conscious of our habitual nature and the things that we do every day. Activities that seem arbitrary actually set up habits. Everything leads to greater things. What is a circumstance? A fact or condition connected with or relevant to an event or action. So, what does it mean to be a slave? No control over circumstances. So, what is a condition? A condition is a state of something with regard to its appearance, quality, or working order. So, we're letting other people tell us the conditions of our life. That's not okay. Follow the intuition, your feeling of what's right, rather than following the mind, which leads to uncertainty. Can the intuition lead to the right action? No, not always, but using it you learn. How can you be so one-sided about the truth about a man? Love your neighbor as I have loved you. So, in life, Christ is an archetype of divinity. Buddhism is an archetype of divinity. We have archetypes. What is an archetype? Archetype. A very typical example of a certain person or thing. An original that has been intimidated. Now, a reason, symbol, or motive in literature, art, or mythology. The concept of an archetype appears in areas relating to behavior, historical psychology, philosophy, and literary analysis. So the idea is to study the archetypes, study yourself, get to know God's love is a gift and accepts us for who we are. Explore yourself. Because in reality, you think that you know you. You believe that you know who you are. But in reality, what if I told you the person that you think you are is not really you? I stand for individual choice and collective freedom. I am not anyone except to those around me. When we were growing up and being raised, we were being told by anyone we put in authority to us, be it mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, teachers, preachers, police. We put these people in authority to us based off what they know. With life comes experience, and with experience comes wisdom. So, we perceive these people to be higher than us based on what they know. So, what does it mean to know? First, we have to understand what it means to not know. To not know means to be uninformed, to lack understanding, to lack information. In other words, ignorant. Now, to be ignorant, it has a negative connotation, but it comes from the Latin in, meaning not, and the Latin no, meaning to know, and from the Latin ignorare, not know, and the French ignorer. In the late 15th century, came to be known as be ignorant of. Ignore means to refuse to take notice or acknowledgement, disregard intentionally. So how do we know? Well, it starts with the environment and how we were raised. It starts with our parents and how they were raised. What is the environment? It's the surroundings or conditions in which a person, animal, plant lives or operates. So the mind, when it is born, it's like a blank slate. It starts soaking in information, most of it unconscious, but we're copying these mannerisms. We copy the behaviors of other people, and we copy their attitudes, really. And we use attitudes in the development of our consciousness. It's certain feeling states of the mind. We must discover for ourselves how we believe. So, how do we know what we believe? Well, believe is a verb, which in grammar is a word used to describe an action, state, or occurrence, such as hear, become, happen, and forms a past participle of a predicate. So it's past predication. Things that we, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Perceive? Predicate. Predetermine? Predicate. Predicate. The part of a sentence or clause containing a verb and stating something about the subject. Example: went home and John went home. The predicate adjective. State, affirm, or assert something about the subject of a sentence or an argument of a proposition. Found or base something on. So proposition, to propose. A proposition is a statement or assertion that expresses a judgment or opinion. Wow. Hmm. We must discover for ourselves how we believe. No, I already read that. Therefore, believe means to accept something as true, feel sure of the truth of, hold something as an opinion, think or suppose. So when we are being formed by our external reality, we use the objective mind to gain information from the external world, and we use this information called sensory impressions in the subjective mind from what we see, smell, taste, hear, and touch. We also have an internal sense called intuition. The subjective mind uses these sentences the subjective mind uses these impressions to represent the world to ourselves symbolically, and we give the symbols their meaning. We all know an apple because we have all seen and agreed on calling an apple an apple. And we give an apple its form and shape by the power of naming. Now imagine an apple. The picture of the apple may or may not be in the mind. We represent different images in the mind and we call this a scene. Now imagine an apple. We give its form and shape by the power of naming. So our words are what give life to reality by the things that we decide to label it, how we choose to picture it. Greed is wanting more for myself and less for others, possibly even at their expense. It's bred by the spirit of competition. In reality, there is no opposition. That's all in the mind. Being against yourself. We cut through the spirit by action-based results of sharing. Literally just letting someone else have something because you want them to have it. Because you feel like they should have it. Wanting the well-being of other individuals. The emotions tend our perceptions. The way that I feel about things influences the way that I see them. We have God, theology, psychology, the archetypes. We have an objective world and a subjective world. We have an objective mind and a subjective mind. We get facts from the objective mind. We get opinion from the subjective mind. We have five senses, what we see, smell, taste, hear, and touch. We have an internal sense called intuition. We have an experience coming from the objective mind. We are told by the people we put in authority to us the facts of life. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, brother, sister, aunts, uncles, cousins, teachers, preachers, police, anyone we believe to have more power or knowledge than us. They tell us who is good, who is bad, what is good, what is bad, when is good or bad, where is good or bad. They, the ones we put in authority to us, tell us the rules or circumstances of life. What is a circumstance? A fact or condition connected with or relevant to an event or action. What is a condition? The state of something with regard to its appearance, quality, or working order. So the environment that we are raised in conditions us to see the world in a way that is based off of their experience. They tell us all about the things in life and make us believe in a reality that is based off their experience. Each person must discover the truth for themselves. You can listen to what other people think about life, but you shouldn't take what others think about life to be true. You should discover the truth for yourself. We arrive at truth by sitting and watching the mind and seeing what comes up. It's only one moment. Everything passes and nothing remains the same. What is a republic? A republic is a form of government where the people hold the power and elect representatives to exercise it. The word republic comes from the Latin phrase res publica, which means the public thing. Here are some characteristics of a republic. The representative government. The people elect representatives to make laws and govern on their behalf. Constitutional. The government is ruled by a constitution that limits the power of the government and protects the rights of individuals. Separation of powers. The government is structured into two separate branches, such as the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches. Responsible government. The leaders of the republic are responsible to the people who elected them and can be voted out of office. The United States is a constitutional federal republic, which means that the government is based on the Constitution, and there is both a national government and a state government. So what is a democracy? Government by the people, rule of the majority. A form of government in which the people elect representatives to make decisions, policies, laws, etc., according to law. A form of government in which people vote directly against or in favor of decisions, policies, laws, etc. If you want your life to get better, you have to wake up every day with a belief that you can change yourself and inspire the world by making one small effort to do one thing different. Talk with your mind to your body to calm the nerves. Be your mind, body, and spirit. Om, 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 Om is the sound of creation. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. The world wants you angry to keep you in a state of slavery. Then they are able to control you by telling you or informing you what you should be angry about. I feel that is manipulation. Listening to others tell you about their anger. Anger is only for destruction. Acceptance is right above it. Actually, I got that wrong. So it goes shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and then enlightenment. Those are the emotional scales. Anger is not a very fun emotion. Honestly, I've been angry for most of my life, dealing with this feeling of injustice towards the world, because it's always been controlled by someone else, people in power, greedy people, corporations. But I don't know if that's true or not, because in reality, like, every corporation, it's made by an individual. It's made by a person. And they spent time and effort and energy into developing a corporation, an idea. And, like, that's the whole thing, is that, like, each person is developing a corporation, a character, an idea. But what is a corporation? It's a lot of people. Is a legal entity that is separate from its owners and is authorized by the state to conduct business. So it's literally just a place to make profit. That's what it seems as if. But then again, I also don't know. I'll have to get more into that. Religion and politics, they don't mix. Is the reproductive abortion issue political or religious? And I asked my coworkers this. Someone said neither. Well, it's about free choice. Are we free to choose policies? So it is neither. It's about people's right to choose their own personal dilemmas. No one wants to have an abortion. It's probably not a fun thing to do. Now, if we're going to force people to have babies, we need more systems in place to get struggling mothers help with food, finances, job, or daycare support. Which is truth. What makes a good man? My coworker said being strong-minded, strong-hearted, strong man. I say virtue. My coworker asked, what is virtue? Being a good person, a human being, treating everyone with compassion and respect while being temperament in our conduct. And really, what is virtue? Virtue is goodness of its own nature. Like, in reality, virtue is having a kind heart. It's doing things because you know it's the right thing to do, and loving people because you know it's the right thing to do. It's standing up for what you believe in. It's believing in what you believe in. It's being right. I don't know. Rather, I do know. It's being the truth, being love, being honest, being courageous, being everything that you want to in life. That's what virtue is. What do women want in a man? My coworker said to be pampered. She meant shown exceeding care. To let you know that you were taken care of. That's what a woman wants in a man. To know that they're going to be taken care of. My coworker said communication. That's another thing that a woman wants in a man, is someone that can communicate with them, someone that can talk to them, someone that can express their emotions to them. My coworker said support. My other coworker said provided for. I said trusted. Known that you're taken into consideration. My other coworker said loyalty. Understanding. Compromises. Meeting in the middle. What makes a good man? Watching your words. Your approach to disagreements. Because everyone is different. And people have different levels of understanding and different levels of empathy. But in reality, empathy can be learned. Empathy can be learned. Security and protection. Security and loyalty. Being actively listened to and fully engaged. Everyone deals inherently with their own internal nature. The idea is to learn about life and gain intelligence through information to improve the standard and quality of the mind. What is confidence? It is doing something habitually to where you feel comfortable in doing that action. But also, I don't really think that's what confidence is. What is confidence? At least that's like my definition of confidence. It is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. Firm trust. Yeah, makes sense. When life makes you feel like a criminal, it feels like what's the point in trying? I've been smoking weed since I was 12. And that's always made me feel bad because I knew it was against the law. I wanted to do something that made me feel good. I have always felt bad about who I am. But that's not what life is about. We should focus on how I can make life better. What can I do? And then I asked ChatGPT to put all this together. And I said, certainly. Here's a reorganized version of your thoughts structured into themes and sub-themes for clarity and flow. Inanimate to animate matter. The moment we realize we are inanimate matter turned animate, we are struck with awe. This amazement at life wonders fuels our spirit, leading to ever unfolding manifestations of ecstasy. But what does it mean to be alive? I am alive because I know I exist. Without this awareness, could I truly claim to be alive? Sometimes I feel unreal, lost in the delusions of the mind. Yet, even this is partly true. Life happens to me, but not in the way I often perceive. Purpose and direction. I know where I come from, and I know where I must go, up to heavens. Nothing brings peace except doing what one wants to truly do. Habits and growth. Breaking cycles. Every moment we develop habits. Activities that seem arbitrary shape our future patterns. Without deliberate action, we risk repeating old routines, staying trapped in our comfort zone. Which is weird, I just thought about that today, that I need to focus on my routines. Staying trapped in our comfort zone. If you want your life to improve, you must wake up each day believing in your ability to change. Even a small effort, a single step, sets the stage for greater transformations. Effort and learning. How can we grow if we never try? How can we succeed without effort? I once disliked learning, believing it unnecessary. But I've realized that life is harder if we don't seek knowledge. True growth lies in learning to love and loving to learn. Intuition versus the mind. Following your intuition, your sense of what feels right, over the mind, which often leads to uncertainty. Intuition may not always guide us perfectly, but through it we learn and grow. The formation of belief. Influences of authority. As children, we grant authority to parents, teachers, and society. They shape our understanding of good and bad, right and wrong, but their teachings are often subjective, based on their experiences. To discover truth, we must think for ourselves. Sit with your mind, watch your thoughts. Truth emerges not from external rules, but from inner awareness. Objective versus subjective reality. We live in two worlds, the objective, which provides facts, and the subjective, which forms opinion. The objective mind gathers sensory impressions, what we see, smell, taste, hear, and touch. The subjective mind interprets these impressions, creating symbols and assigning meaning. To understand life, we must navigate both realms, discerning truth from opinion. Emotional intelligence. The power of emotions. Emotions color our perception. Anger, for example, often leads to destruction, while acceptance elevates us. Greed stems from competition, a desire for more at others' expense. Altruism, the pursuit of collective well-being, counters this. Judgment versus discernment. Judging others stems from the mind's biases. Instead, we must practice discernment, separating facts from subjective feelings. Opinions unsupported by evidence are not truths, but reflections of our inner state. Leadership and community. Entrepreneurial spirit. True leaders foster community and inspire others. Taking a college class in entrepreneurship could deepen this understanding. Life as a movie. Picture life as a movie where you are the star. The other characters, your friends, family, and strangers, each play a role. Help them when needed, as this enriches your own story. That's true. Very true. Spiritual reflections. The role of intuition. Intuition is an internal sense guiding us beyond the five senses. While imperfect, it connects us to the deeper currents of life. God's love and human unity. God's love is a gift that accepts us as we are. Explore yourself without judgment. Love your neighbor as yourself, for this fosters collective harmony. Beyond pride in religion. Is believing Christianity the only path to God prideful? Perhaps. God's love transcends any single belief system. Humanity and openness guide us closer to divine humility and openness guide us closer to divine truth. Beyond pride in religion. Is believing Christianity the only path to God prideful? Perhaps, for God's love transcends any single belief system. Humility and openness guide us closer to divine truth. Overcoming struggles. Addiction and change. I struggled with substance since I was 12, feeling like a criminal because of societal judgment. But life isn't about shame. It's about asking, how can I make life better? Focus on one thing at a time. Start with the breath. Every inhale is a step towards freedom. Emotional scale. Emotions like anger can enslave us. Acceptance, just above anger on David R. Hawkins' emotional scale, offers a way out. By calming the mind and body, we move towards peace. Which it goes. Anger, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance. So pride is like 3 below. So it goes pride, then courage, then neutrality, then a willingness, and then acceptance. A call to action. If you want your life to get better, start small. Change one habit. Take one risk. Talk to your body, calm your nerves, connect your mind, body, and spirit. Wake up every day believing you can change and inspire others. Discover truth for yourself, not through authority, but through personal reflection. This reorganizes your ideas into clear sections, making it easier to share and expand upon. Thanks for listening. Oh no. So I'm sitting here observing the Critique of Pure Reason by Immanuel Kant, and it says that we base our life off of principles which lead to our conditions, and those transcend the limit of experience because it deals with metaphysics and how we're thinking and like what we're thinking about. So in reality, you should question everything that you experience in life because that really gets you to the root of it all. Like, whenever you start to ask yourself questions, you wonder why, you discover why, because knock and it shall be opened, ask and you shall receive. And like, the more that we try to understand each other, the deeper that creates our bond. When we focus on the breath, this allows us to control our nervous system, and it allows us to control our nerves. And the more we breathe deeply and sit with ourselves, the deeper that we see reality. Because it's about learning about yourself and exploring your own mind and connecting with other people and realizing how it all fits together. Because everyone is just a reflection of you. And people need understanding. They need people that are trying to understand them. And whenever you try to understand another person, that creates a feeling of harmony. Because, like, it's all about asking questions for yourself, for others, and trying to understand the root of life, the point of it. I think that there's a lot of distractions, a lot of things that fill up people's time, and it's like if you're always chasing after something you're not really understanding or knowing yourself. I mean, it's all about what you accomplish, but life isn't necessarily about your accomplishments. I mean, accomplishing things makes you feel good, and so whenever you're working towards goals and you achieve that, it makes you feel good. But the idea to me is to help other people feel good and for them to see the truth for what it really is. Because whenever we sit within ourselves and we observe, we see that reality comes in and then it goes out. But really, it goes out and then it comes back in. It's a loop, feeding you information. And life runs in cycles. It's cyclical in its nature. And if you watch yourself, you get in tune with your routine, your own cycles. And you start to be able to break out of your habitual patterns, the things that you see that you need to change. But it's about having a spirit of honesty and commitment to life and understanding people. Because if you're trying to understand people, then you understand yourself. And in reality, everyone just wants to be loved. Everyone wants to know that they're taken care of and that people see them for who they are. Because life is about being who you want to be. It's about understanding yourself from the eyes of another. Because whenever you hear your actions from someone else, it allows you to really observe, to really understand. Because we're always blind to our own actions. We don't really see ourselves. We think we know who we are. We believe that we're conscious of ourself. But in reality, what do you really know about yourself? What is it that you really think about? And how are your thoughts establishing your identity? Because I'm not me or the things that I think about the world. All of that is just an opinion. I mean, you're you because you exist. But a lot of life comes from an opinion and not knowing the truth. Because if you know the truth of life, then you understand that it's love. Love over will. So you love things over your own will. The own thing, you love God, you love humanity, you love life over your own will. You love life over the things that you find important. Because in reality, everything that you believe is important. It may or may not be. What does it mean to be important? I mean, in reality, a lot of stuff is important. Important, a great significance or value, likely to have a profound effect on success, survival, or well-being. So it's about what you deem important in your life. And I think that helping other people see the truth, see the love that God is what's important to life. And a lot of people, they want reality to go back to how it used to be. And like, it can not. Because if it went back to how it used to be, you would literally die. Like, that's the tragic thing about life, is that, like, if it goes back to how it used to be, we would literally die. Like, you can't go back and experience your old life. You have to live in the now. And so, like, to be caught up in the past and want the past, like, that's okay, but it stops you from the present and really being one with yourself. And so it's making a plan for the future. Because every moment, it's changing. Every moment is developing into something different. And so it always relates back to your character and how you're developing that. And in reality, it has to do with your morality and how you see another person and what you believe about them. Because a lot of people see evil in the world, when in reality, the evil that you believe in the world is really just inside your own self. Like, when we really start to observe the mind body, the states, the feelings, and everything that produces, you start to be able to undo the knots of anger, the knots of depression, the knots of sadness. You start to free yourself from all the negative emotions. I mean, it's not always like you're free from it, because life still has an influence. Like, the things that happen in life still have an effect on the mind and body. But it's like listening to God and your own sense of ideas and your own intuition and following what you believe to be true or right in life. It really helps you gain knowledge and understand life. But it's like, in reality, how do you ever know what's right or what's true? I think that looking out for other people is what's right and what's true. Making sure that they're trying to do their best. And I mean, you can't make anyone want to live a better life, but that's the idea. Is like, if you're trying to live a better life, then your life slowly starts to improve. It's, how can I make this moment better? And whenever you focus on making this moment better, it creates love for yourself. Because the better that you try to make your life, the easier that becomes. Because the more that you focus on your knowledge and spreading that to the world, people understand love. Because that's the root of it all, is the love of God. But people that are following the spirit of greed, trying to get you to chase after money, like, I don't know. I think that that's the wrong idea. I mean, yeah, people want things for themselves, but it's like, isn't that selfish to want things for yourself? Shouldn't you want to give your time and energy away to the world, to other people? I mean, you should still want to do things for yourself, because everyone needs time on their own. but it's also thinking about other people and doing things for them. And doing things just because you want to. In reality, you're not ever gonna get away from the things that you don't want to do, and so it's facing them head on and learning that you can overcome your difficulties. Because in reality, society, life, everyone, it's always trying to tell you what to be. And you can't let other people, other things tell you what to be, or who you want to be, or how you are. You have to discover that for yourself. Home.